Is everyone over there ready? Okay. Hello, my name is ASnead, and I'm a senior here at William Monroe High School. For my very big senior project, I decided to look at the importance of local newspapers and why these small weekly newspapers have been doing better than larger national newspapers that have a weekly or that have a daily circulation. So I first became interested in the topic of journalism a while back because I didn't really know what I wanted to pursue in college. I knew I enjoyed writing, I knew I enjoyed photography. So when the SAT and the ACT asked what you're interested in, what degree you're interested in pursuing, I kept checking off journalism. So I got invited to be a national youth correspondent at the Washington Journalism and Media Conference last summer. So WJMC is hosted every year by George Mason University. Been going on for the past few years, and it's really grown in popularity. So typically they had 1 week, and they invited a certain amount of students to it. This year they had 2 separate sessions, so they could invite as many people as possible. So I went to the second session, which was hosted in July. So we stayed on campus at Mason for a week, and so we get up in the morning, have our breakfast, and then we go out to hear different speakers. We heard from Carol Guzzi, who's won the Pulitzer Prize 4 times. We heard from Susan Goldberg from National Geographic and lots of reporters from many other publications. So then in the evenings we come back, and this is the small group that I was assigned to. There were many more people there. And so these small groups would go into classrooms and we discussed the events from the day. So after we discussed the events, reflected on our experiences, we got to learn more about journalism. So my adult leader, who's right there, Matt Schott, he is actually a journalism teacher in, I believe, Missouri. So he was very helpful because there are actually quite a few of us like me who don't have a journalism class or a school newspaper. So he was very helpful in explaining different things that we hadn't learned. And my junior advisor, who's right there, is he's either a sophomore or junior at George Mason. He is majoring in journalism. And then at the end of the night, we all blogged, and at the end of the conference, all the different parts of different blogs were shared by Elena Johnson, who was the head of the event. So when I was first looking for my internship, I was originally in contact with Pat Fitzgerald. He is the editor of the Greene County Record. In the end, he actually referred me to a reporter because Pat doesn't do very much field work. But he was very helpful throughout the entire thing, and he gave me lots of useful information. So one thing that he said when I first talked to him really stuck out to me because I wasn't sure what my thesis was going to be yet. And he told me that over the past 5 years, circulation has increased for the Greene County Record by 400 additional papers being in circulation every week. So, but this isn't I was really surprised by that because most people, when they think of newspapers, they think that circulation is down, but this is true for daily newspapers. So this is a study conducted by the Pew Research Center, and they found that on average, newspapers have decreased by 4% circulation on Sunday papers and daily by 7% because less people are reading the newspaper, more people are getting their information online. This is another study conducted by the Pew Research Center. So they made phone calls to, I believe, around 2,500 adults, and so anyone over the age of 18, and they asked them how closely they follow their local news. Around 72% stated that they followed their local news closely. And of that 72%, 32% stated that they felt it would have a big impact on their life if their local newspaper were to go out of business, because many people rely on their newspaper. So when I was looking for solutions, I looked at specifically how the Greene County Record could improve itself. Obviously, it has been doing successful, but it's not perfect, and there are many things it could do to improve. The Greene County Record is part of the Central Virginia Weekly Group, so it shares some of its content with the newspaper in Orange County and Madison County, but those are 2 very small communities that are nearby. But a larger community is Charlottesville, and Seaville Weekly is one of the publications in Charlottesville. It was actually named one of the top newspapers by editor and publisher in, I believe, 2016. So they have a very successful newspaper, and many people read it. So one of my ideas was the Greene County Record to share content with Seaville Weekly. I think that this would be a big benefit for not only the Greene County Record, but for our whole community, especially if they wrote about events happening in Greene. It would help a lot of local businesses by having more people from the Charlottesville area come to Greene County for those events. And another problem with the Greene County Record is their website. So one of the ideas I had was to have more local businesses advertising on the website. That can be a great source of revenue for the paper, because right now the ads are for, I believe this one's for a lawnmower, but they could be having other local businesses. And another big problem is just the layout, because the first article that you see this week when you go on the Greene County Record is about an arrest, and that's not necessarily what people want to see when they're first looking at the news. They want something more, they want to read something more positive and upbeat first before they read about those kinds of things. And if people are looking to, especially to move to the area, this isn't the first thing that we want them to see. So for my internship, I worked with Terry Biggie. She's a reporter for the Greene County Record. So she is one of the few full-time employees they have. The full-time employees are just the editor, Pat, and Terry, a reporter, and they rely on a handful of correspondents. So I followed Terry around different events such as school board meetings, and we conducted multiple interviews throughout the community. So my first event I attended with her was a Board of Supervisors meeting, and I learned that from the Board of Supervisors meetings, she comes up with multiple stories by seeing what's on the agenda, seeing the different speakers, and then conducting further interviews with certain people, as well as writing about the meeting as a whole. Then the next one I worked on with her was interviewing Mr. Sparks. He recently became the principal of the tech center, so we went together to talk to him about his experiences, his background, and what led him to that position. I also sat down on my own. It was the first time for me interviewing someone by myself, and I talked to Mr. Nelson, who's a guidance counselor here at William Monroe, and I talked to him about how the PSAT is being offered for free for underclassmen and how he thinks that's benefiting them. And my favorite interview was one with the Greene County Animal Shelter. The Greene County Animal Shelter in the past has been known as a high-kill animal shelter, but last year was the first year that they didn't have to put down a single animal, which was not something that not many people in the community knew. So I was one of the first people to get to tell everyone else in the community about that. Unfortunately, my name was not put on the paper for that. Someone else got credit for it, but they fixed it, and I did, and ended up getting credit for it. So that was definitely my favorite, because I've adopted animals from the animal shelter, and it's just a really good thing to hear. For my community service, I decided to create an online literary magazine. So I talked to Thomas Panarese. He is an English teacher here at William Monroe. Last year, he tried to start a literary magazine just for the high school, but it ended up falling through due to a lack of submissions. So I sat down and talked to him. We decided to create the magazine online just due to the resources that we had available to us. It would be much easier to do it online. So I created flyers that I hung up around the community, and I got in contact with all the English teachers here at the high school and told them to please encourage their students to submit something. So since this was open to the whole community, I tried to make it as user-friendly as possible so that anyone that wanted to submit could. So this is the homepage, which explains how to get in contact with me and just talks about what the magazine is. Then the submissions tab up here takes you to a Google form where you fill out your basic information, your name, your email, your age, the title of the work that you're submitting, and your actual work. And then the first edition I recently updated it, and it has all of the submissions I currently have. But I had a few teachers approach me and say that they still have students who wanted to submit that haven't had a chance yet. So the literary magazine is open for submissions until the end of the month. So if anyone wants more information on that, please let me know. So my advice for future Burbank seniors would be to enjoy your senior year. This is the last time that you're going to be with this class, and so I think you can see that we've all really grown. We're all very close now. if I went back and did this again, I would have looked more into the project over the summer and had maybe an idea, because when I first walked in, I had no idea what to expect, and I wasn't prepared at all for what was going to come up. And another piece of advice would be, if you're like me and you never had a chance to experience a field you're interested in, this is your chance to see if you'll enjoy it. I found that I really did enjoy it, and it's really good to have your foot in the door early for the field you want to go into. And even if you don't like the topic, at least you've had the experience and you know that's something that you don't want to go into. So next year I'll be attending George Mason University. I plan to study communications with a concentration in journalism, because I found that it's something I really enjoy. After that, I hope to get a job or an internship at one of the publications in the DC and Fairfax area. So that's it. I don't know, are there any questions?
Yeah. So I think the biggest comes down is fake news.
Yeah.
You're on social media, or on Facebook, like, here's a story you will probably look at based on your values and habits. But I think local papers are listed that because the structure. You have to submit articles to an editor. You have legal liability for articles you publish. So do you see local and daily papers like being charged against fake news?
I think especially with having a weekly paper, you have more of a time period to look over an article and make sure you have all the information correct, because there's so much more time to edit it. I think it's a little bit harder if you're doing a daily paper. I think that a lot of the fake news that people are getting are just from citizen journalism. People that don't have all the facts are just sending out tweets or posts on Facebook, and they don't know all the information that people listen to, because people just think that anything that they see on the internet is going to be true, and that's definitely not always the case. Anyone else? Yes.
On your graph of subscriptions, was that just print, or was that print and digital?
This is just for print.
Okay. Is there also a similar decline in digital subscriptions?
I would think that as these numbers went down, I would think that the number of people going online to those websites to get their news would increase, just because a lot of those newspapers you can read for free online, as opposed to paying a couple dollars to get a magazine each week or each day. Anyone else?
And to what did you attribute the jump between 2010 to about?
Yeah, so did relook through the article, this study, and it didn't really address that specifically. My guess would be just people being let go of their jobs. They don't have as much money anymore. They don't really have the money to keep their subscription. And then maybe as the economy got better, there was an increase in people reading newspapers again. That would be my best guess, since it didn't address that.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be tied to, even though that's measuring print, right about that time they started offering, if you get a print subscription, you can also have free online access. So that may be causing the jump as well, because they've now tied the two together, and I think they finally figured out that they've got to offer the content online in order to get people to continue to get the print paper, which is where the money is. That's where all their
Yeah. Did anyone else have any questions?
Thank you,